Hawkman number 19, Robert Venditti writing with, I actually didn't check, but Patrick O'Leaf still on art?
Yeah.
Yeah, a leaf.
Yep, there you go. We'll take it away.
So,
Shayera.
Shayera.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So she showed up at the end of last issue,
hmm
and about half of this issue is them fighting and her ultimately kicking the crap out of Sky Tyrant.
Yep, because he's, and then he brings up too that he had another on Earth 3, and that she's in there with Shayera. And I'm just like, oh my god, the possibilities this makes.
Yeah.
With Hawkman and Hawkwoman / Hawk Girl across the multiverse, as we've seen.
Do you know what I can see? Because obviously the end of the first arc was all of the Hawkmen.
Yep.
I can see us ending another arc.
Yep.
You know, well, the end of the first year was that.
Yep.
I can see us getting to a point where it's all of the Hawkwomen.
Yep. That'd be cool. The interesting thing that Venditti brings up here is, right, he changed the origin of Hawkman now when he brought in Qatar Deathbringer, which that's a band name, Qatar Deathbringer. Like,
yeah.
Can't wait to see them at Monster Fest. You know, that for each life that he took, he has to make up for. And now you introduce the concept of Sky Tyrant in the Dark Multiverse. How many more lives?
And that's a big part of Sky Tyrant. Right? He was scared of dying, not dying in that particular life, but of completing his mission, essentially, of saving enough that he wouldn't reincarnate. He was scared of that final death.
So he just kept going.
He just kept killing as many as he could to add more to the tally.
Such a great twist that I didn't even think of. Like, when we got to this concept of Sky Tyrant, I didn't even think of that counting in. And yeah, man. And then you got all the stuff with Shira here, which I messaged Connor as I was reading this on Wednesday. That was Thursday night. I was reading it about if we could remember of how Kendra impacts Shira, and if this is just, we'll timey-wimey it, that they can both coexist because of time and space and whatnot, that's what I'm going to go with going forward.
I think, given that we have had various versions of Hawkman at the same time in this book, I don't think we can really complain that much.
No, but this is the Shira that we saw in Justice League of Thanagar.
Seems to be, yes.
That, so yeah, I don't know how this fits in with all of that stuff.
Because we're trying to remember the stuff in Justice League, but that was like a year ago. I feel like I remember it being like out of sync in time and space, which is why it kind of existed.
Right, because Shayera and Qatar, right? That's the wingmen. And then it says Carter and then Kendra. But so if Qatar did, so does that mean that if Qatar hadn't died, he could still be hanging around on Thanagar?
I don't see any reason why not.
Right, because if Kendra and Shayera are coexisting at the same time.
This is probably exactly why we had that Death of Hawkman mini.
Right? So, okay, but yeah, it ends up with her after I got overthinking that, like I always do. It's a fantastic fight sequence between these two.
Yeah.
And her bringing up that Shade called the Justice League because Carter wasn't acting like himself.
And she's like, no, you're right. There's something not right here.
Yep. And then Sky Tyrant playing up that Carter's in the passenger seat. So he has to witness all of this. And he's going to do his worst to Shayera.
There's a great bit where Shayera steps through Carter.
Yeah. And it's, oh, man. But yeah, so after she whips up on him, and really great move where she's taking it to him, and he's got his mace that's all wrapped up in spiky and whatnot.
Yeah.
She turns it on him. It ends up on the ground. She trips him up, and he lands on it and it impales him.
Yeah.
And does a big amount of damage, so much so that he gets a Zeta transport back onto his ship.
Yeah, he runs away.
Yep. And that, she's basically won, and she goes, no to his escape, but radios someone and goes, "This is Hawkman. He got away, but tell me in position." And he goes, "Oh, already inside."
I'm
so
pretty sure this is the Atom.
This is the Atom, right? So look, not to spoil anything from the solicits, but this is Sky Tyrant's going to keep going through March.
Oh, really? I didn't actually read the solicits.
Yeah, and it's also going to involve Adam Strange, and the Atom. So
okay,
it's gonna have those three. So Shira, Shira, the Atom, and Adam Strange, almost having an intervention with Sky Tyrant. I feel like this is where this is going. And again, Venditti is, over the course of these issues, has turned Hawkman into one of my favorite DC characters.
A unique book.
Yeah,
and it's a Hawkman story that's no longer just telling the same Hawkman story. Because as much as we loved that first year, it kind of was, to an extent. It was, oh look, here's an origin again. It's gone beyond that now. It's something fresh. Even though the origin kind of encompassed all the others and made them all kind of fit.
Right. But now we're going beyond the origin, because he told that story so we can get to this stuff. And like, what does that mean? And he's actually pulling off the whole Dark Multiverse stuff in story really well with this Sky Tyrant, and how that played in with his origin, and how when they end up on the ship and he pulls a book on this bookcase and it opens a secret entrance to the Black Journal. So,
which I'm excited to see more about.
Right, and with Sky Tyrant saying that he'll kill everything with the secrets held within the Black Journal. So yeah, Olei's art's really, it matches this grittiness.
Yeah.
Again, I started reading the Rough Riders stuff too, from I forget who it was, but Olei does the art, and it's this really pulpy, gritty, take on. It's almost like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but with American figures.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it fits Hawkman to a T, I feel. So yeah, kind of a revelation.
Yeah, and I think again, I cannot praise enough how it's handling this Secret Six star stuff. And obviously, I'm not reading Supergirl. I from what I gather from your just general reactions, it's handling it well enough as well. But compared to like those one shots, this is so
much
staggeringly
preferable.
Better.
Yeah, much preferable.
Yeah. It's crazy how just giving it some time to pace it and building it into the story in a way that, like, because obviously you can say, well, the Doom stuff's all kind of been built into stories, and it still feels terrible. This actually feels like a really natural evolution of what this particular book has been. So it really works.
Almost as if Venditti looked what was coming up and went, okay, I know what to do with Hawkman. Yeah. And I almost feel the same when we get to Supergirl, kind of this, along with, I don't know how long Hauser knew she was going to be writing, or if they were like, hey, you're going to have an infected Supergirl, do what you want. Because I feel like she almost did the same thing where this is coming, I'm going to, fit it in.
It's not even necessarily that, he told this story because that's what they were doing. It was more of, how do I work this into my story that I'm telling?
Exactly.
And, compare it to how this has been worked into this book to the Doom's shit in Flash. This feels so natural. It feels like an evolution of that story, whereas Flash just feels like, well, we're just doing something that can't be real, surely.
Right.
So,
well, I think it's too is that Sky Tyrant's one of the infected, and it's kind of central to the Hell Arisen stuff coming up.
Yeah.
But it feels right. And we said the same about Batgirl with Oracle, that is pulling it off real well, and then through the solicits, we find out that Oracle is going to be one of
the key players.
Yeah. So, editorial. Usually, when we bring up editorial, it's we're kicking them for messing something up or over injecting the Doom signal.
Editorial is one of those things that you rarely praise, but you notice it when it goes wrong.
Right, and here
they're doing a great job.
Yeah, seemingly thus far. So,
yeah.
What's your rating, Hawkman?
8.5.
See, I'm gonna give it a 9. I really love this issue. It might be because it featured a kick-ass redhead too, but
I mean, I'm sure that helps.
Yeah,
Matt's got a type, and
I do.